gonna love this.
I want to hear it. I'm objective. You're critical.
Anico at the disco.
He's positive. Join the Mixtape 615.
Today, tomorrow, yesterday,
It is the dopest supporter group in all of Nashville.
forever. Woo! Testing. 1, 2, 3. This is the Mixtape 615 podcast. And we, right now, right here is the place to be. Excuse my grammar, baby. If you're a Nashville Soccer Club fan or you're just trying to see what's going on with them boys in gold, because there's a lot going on with them right now that we got to talk about. I invite you to lock in with us real quick. It's your boy, Tunji, a.k.a. Young Turtle, the Soccer Face, SF, Doom, the Big Kahuna, munching on the little tuna sandwich, the DR Kid, affectionately known as Steam Papi, Yamame, por favor. Yo, any given Wednesday, baby, you know where you catch me at. Southside Kitchen, Southside Kitchen MP, Southside K and Pub. Sipping on half off whiskeys because it's half off whiskey night. I just got a paycheck and I'm waving in the air like I just don't care. Sipping Mai Tais on this beach in Belize because I'm feeling so cool like a summer breeze. A dude walking down Broadway this past weekend for Premier League Fan Fest, in which I whooped Ginger Snaps behind in some EAFC.
Oh my gosh. Oh my. He hit, okay, let's clear it up. He hit a 92nd minute.
Yeah, it was clutch. They call me Mr. Clutch because I'm the golden boy with the golden voice. Chicago Mike, the Glizzy Gladiator. And this is once again another Mixtape 615 podcast where we talk to you about Nashville Soccer Club and all of the things that pertain to them. Austin, can you tell them who you are besides the dude that lost to me in front of 3 9-year-olds in the AFC?
3 9-year-olds.
Yeah, they were giving Tunji crap the whole time.
Arsenal. They're not
He had 9-year-olds trash talking him the whole time. That's who Tunji is. That's another AK of his. But my name is Austin, aka Wildman, aka Ginger Snap, aka the Fumbling Dublin, aka Chicky Parm, aka Red Beard. Logan, tell me who you are.
All right, everybody. It's your boy Logan, a.k.a. Beer Main, a.k.a. the SFX Doom. You know it. You know it. I love it.
Why do you do me like this?
A.k.a. Mr. Carson, Mr. Roboto, a.k.a. Coach Carson. And, of course, a.k.a. Allegedly. If you know, you know. And
if we're talking about EAFC losses, let's just talk about how I beat Beer Main 4-0.
Yeah, the person who doesn't have a game console.
Hey, you snooze, you lose. You snooze, you lose. An L is an L.
Well, this is the Mixtape 615 podcast brought to you by the Mixtape 615 supporter group, the dopest supporter group in all of Nashville, all soccer, all of the world. And we want you to join in with us. Just go to mixtape615.com. That is mixtape615.com to jump into the mix and get that wonderful 2024 scarf that says "We Run This Pitch," along with all of your other awesome just little perks that you get being a part of the SG.
How many awesomes was that?
Getting amazing player appearances like myself and our producer Doug got to go to last night. We got an exclusive deal where we got to go to a private event with Alex Wheel, Lucas McNaughton, Schaffelberg, the beautiful boys from Canada. Schaffelberg letting us all know he's about to have a baby girl. Congratulations to the man, father to be. Oh yeah, he's about to be a girl dad. I'm excited to say that we got to have an awesome time there. We got to have a great time on the field this last weekend. If you want free bus rides to Cincy, Atlanta, places like that, jump into the mix. There's so many awesome things that you can do. I can't say awesome enough because it really is that awesome. Now, talking about awesome,
6.
We've got a lot of amazing things that have happened in soccer world news this last week. For instance, UEFA Champions League match mayhem to the PL mornings live, hosting it here in Nashville and having the largest attendance ever in its history. There is all that soccer news, and we do want to bring it all the way back into Nashville because we do have a lot to talk about with a very special guest on again for the second time, our boy Somatos. Shay.
What's up? What's up, guys? It's your boy, your favorite agent. Here to give you an agent's take, aka Somatos. AKA, I'm glad it's not allegedly, because that is a horrible nickname, man.
It is. That's what terrible. You think. That's what you think.
Nah.
Shay's AKAs are AKA, I'm too qualified for this. AKA, I know more than these guys. AKA.
Yeah. AKA, I am a very nervous Penguins fan right now. If you're listening without video, I got it on right next to me, and we're making a run. But let's keep it Nashville focused. Thank you guys for having me on, as always. Looking forward to our topic.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we are jumping right in, guys. We are jumping right in. We've got a game rewind, match rewind. Nashville SC had their second loss of the season to Philadelphia, and it was a late loss. If you were there, it was pretty sad. Beerman and I were actually enjoying watching the match from the stadium for the first time in a while. We're normally up on the Capo stand with our back to the pitch, but we were actually able to watch it, and it was there at the very end. Nashville SC and Philly were kind of locked in this deadlock late in the match. And I'm like, all right, game's over. I got a long drive. And I start making my way towards the exit, just waiting to hear the whistle behind me as I walk in. As I'm walking, there is a goal.
No, it was awful.
For Philly in the 90th minute. And man, it was rough.
I bet.
So we're going to talk about that a little bit more, but hey, some positives. Sam Surridge got his goal,
42nd minute.
That was looking good. And then Philly, we kind of matched with them most of the game. So that was a positive. Are they the only unbeaten team left? They're one of two, if any.
But it was Cincy, Philly, and LA Galaxy going into this, but I didn't care to check the other two.
Yeah. So with the loss, Tunji, what did you see from this Nashville SC team against Philly?
An inability to defend against I don't even call it non-traditional, because it's just one of those things that when you're a good soccer team, football team, I have to say both, because I have roots in the UK and roots in the US, and people will clown me either way. So I have to say football and soccer. That's just a little side note here. But there is a thing in soccer / football called the diagonal pass, right? So when you're as opposed to just passing it to your left or to in front of you, the usual positions when you're playing sort of like a triangle style formation with 2 or 3 other players. When you take the ball and a player, maybe let's say like you're on the left side of the pitch and you're right on that in an attacking third, and you pass it, I guess if we're looking at 90-degree angles, the hypotenuse maybe.
This guy's getting into too much geometry and math over here.
But that's what happened, right? So this is what happened. Jim Curtin, right? That's his name for Philly. He made some subs at halftime. Nashville SC, Gary, saw these subs. And they were like just a little bit after half. They saw these subs and they did nothing to react. And what these subs started doing, once these subs came in, the people that we had shut down the whole game
shifted. The game shifted.
Carranza, now they are able to. But like what and it was who they sub in. Their captain. I'm forgetting his. I'm so mad I'm forgetting his name. But they subbed in. I can't get his name. But anyway, they subbed in a pretty huge piece of their team that they were kind of just resting, but decided to bring him in. And he started making these, I guess, to Nashville SC defenders, to our system, unorthodox passes, and we never recovered. And we let them hang around, right? You can't let teams hang around in this league, in any league. You can't let them hang around. And Nashville, like, we thought that we were doing well in the first half. Someone on the Twitter Spaces after the game told me this. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting your name, brother man. I will look it up and let's have another chat next week. But you said Nashville didn't play well that first half. Philly just played bad, and it came back to haunt them in the second half. That's what I saw.
Wow. Yeah. I think it was Bedoya is who they subbed on. That might be who you're thinking of.
Yeah. It was Bedoya. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was rough. It's hard to watch. We've been kind of calling for Gary's number. I think a lot of us Nashville fans have been for a little while now, and seeing nothing to show for it. Shay, I know that you've got some stuff from this match. What did you see as kind of outside looking in, not in the supporters group, but outside looking in? What did you see?
Yeah, we're starting to see the analytics come into play, and hey, were our takes in the first game authentic? Were they real? Yeah, we focused on inability to match or to mark your man, and not having depth, and this is exactly what we're seeing now. And to piggyback off of what Tunji was saying is maybe Nashville is who they are, and it's not that maybe the other team when they play bad makes Nashville look good. And I have a couple important statistics here that I want to bring up that will tell the tale for Nashville. They are in the bottom 5 of both expected goals scored and expected goals allowed. Now, it's a traditional Nashville, right? To not be in the top scoring, but this is not Nashville to be in the bottom of defense for expected goals allowed. And
we talked last week with 7 matches in, with the amount of goals allowed already to this point, 11. We're looking at 62 goals allowed this season if we keep this trend.
Yeah. And these are expected goals. It's not bad luck. This is what Nashville is right now.
Yeah.
It's upsetting.
Yeah. That's really upsetting. Logan, give me your take from this match.
Now, I'm normally pretty objective with this, and I went back in and rewatched the match after it because I needed to make sure I stayed objective. And despite it being a loss, we were pretty evenly matched across the board. I mean, you're looking at 52 to 48 possession in Nashville's way. Shots were 11-3. On goal were 5-6. Passes, we actually had more passes at 256 versus 226. I mean, across the board, all the way down. In fact, we had way more crosses in with 12 to their 3. One of the biggest issues is that we allowed the 2 that I mentioned last week. We allowed Carranza and Gazdag to score. I mean, the 2 guys that both had 3 going into this game to score a 4th goal each. And that's just upsetting. I mean, the one thing I will say that was a positive coming out of this, even on top of Sam Surge's goal, was the fact that we finally have the MLS refs back. And I think it shows. You had 10 fouls to 9 with only 1 card. Victor Reyes, he was the number 1 or was named the ref of the year last year, was our main ref. And or Victor Rivas, sorry. But we had him in, and I feel like it was a much more aggressive, and it was a lot more of a fun kind of play. So, I mean, regardless of the loss, I think that we can take away the positives that our refs are back, and we matched up pretty well against a team that is arguably at the top of the East with.
I don't care about the refs being back.
I was about to say, if one of the positives that we can look at from a game is that MLS refs are back, I don't think that's a great positive.
I mean, I gotta
for Nashville SC.
Find something to hold on to for Nashville.
That's weak. That's weak sauce.
They're not beating the better teams. Who they beat? Was it Charlotte?
They beat Charlotte.
Charlotte's not great.
Charlotte, and that's their only win. We're 7 games in. We have 1 win, 2 losses. Yeah, this is where Nashville is right now, and it's hard. I mean, it's legit. It is hard to watch. It's hard to get into it. We've talked about just being in the supporter section. it's hard for us as capos to get the supporter section into it right now because Nashville is not giving us much to cheer for. So we want to see more from Nashville. We are still fans. We are still, cheering for and loving our team. But right now, we got to see some love back from the front office. Got to see some love back from Gary. We've got to see some love back from our forwards. We want to see that. So we hope that, maybe we take this break. We don't have a match this weekend. And we see something better coming out of that. But we're going to move on. We've got big changes, big announcement within the past day that the MLS is implementing some summer rule changes to hopefully get some better players in, hopefully make the level of play a little bit better on the pitch. But we're going to talk about that right after the break. Hey, Mixtape 615, are you ready for the 2024 season? We want you to join us, join our supporters group. It is the dopest supporters group in all of Nashville. So sign up right now at mixtape615.com and rock your 2024 membership scarf so you can show off and say, we run this pitch. Imagine standing on the field, feeling the energy of the game close up, all of the energy of the stadium. That's a reality for our members. You can get on-field opportunities, plus get access to our tailgates where you'll bond with fellow fans over great food, soccer passion, and don't miss out on our epic away game watch parties. So sign up now, mixtape615.com, and join for the 2024 season.
We're back. And we're going to talk about some money. If I didn't say it enough times. Money. That's what I was looking for. All right, so we know this already about MLS. They're a bunch of penny pinchers. That's who they are. Don Garber is, I've said it before, man. He's Scrooge McDuck diving into his spool of gold medallions. I don't know what it is that he dives into, but he dives into a pool of money. They've made some big changes. The MLS has just announced, like as of time of recording, in the last 24 hours, renounced their old ways of penny pinching and adopted new ways of spending a little bit of money.
There we go. He saved it, man. He saved it.
They're complicated. What we do know, our next closest league, right? Well, right now there's a salary budget of around 5.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
That's referred to collectively as the club's senior roster. That's the team that you normally see on the pitch. We know that the lowest Liga MX team spends about 8.5 mil on their roster. That's last time I checked, that was San Luis. And Club America spends around 25 mil a year. So we've made some changes. Shay, can you kind of break down some of these changes and what they mean for Nashville City? And let's all remember, the winter-summer signing window is not closed yet.
Correct.
But these changes will presumably take effect in the summer signing window, not the winter window, but the summer signing window of 2024.
That's exactly right. So our winter window has not closed yet. We have until April 23rd in the MLS to make signings that are not free agents. And let me tell you the significance of this, because if we have a player, if a Nashville has a player that they're targeting, and let's use Latin America. Latin America is very open to selling a player. Their seasons traditionally end, depending if you make the playoffs, early to mid-May, okay? So there's just usually a small gap between when our window closes, which is traditionally early May. So it's very small. It's bigger this year. Now, if Nashville were to wait until that season ended and they had a free agent player in, let's say, Argentina, that player, even though his season and contract are over in May, he still can't play until the summer window in July. So what do we do? How do we navigate that? Traditionally, clubs will sell at a discounted rate or give some sort of, hey, it's the end of the year, but we need something for our player. and we're not going to make the playoffs, here you go. Or we can loan you till the end of the year in December. There are ways to navigate that, but you just simply can't say, well, hey, let's wait until that player is free after his contract in May. Not so simple. Got to wait because his contract ended after the winter window closed in the MLS. So just let's make that clear. Another point I want to piggyback off of Tunji here is we'll get into it, but yes, our senior budget is always, it's 5-6. It's going to be going up to 7 million range. Keep in mind, with DP spending, that becomes, let's say, extra spending. So once that can go past the budget of the 5.5 to 6 million, okay? Mm-hmm. So that's where you sign your players like Messi, 30, 25, 30, 35 million a year. That puts you way over what San Luis might be. And then we're going to talk about GAM, which also allows extra spending and to be bought down. So let's go ahead and start with our first change, which is a big one. Let's talk about those DPs. Now, traditionally, clubs can carry up to 3 DPs and 1 under 22 initiative player. Mm-hmm. Let's clarify for those that don't know, an under 22 initiative player is a player that has a budget hit max of $200,000. You can buy him. Let's say you have a Brazilian wonder kid. You can buy him for 80 million if the president wants. It only hits for 200. Now, the difference between him and what would be a young DP, which are traditionally players about 21, 22 up to 23, that young DP can earn DP money. That U22 has to have a salary with a budget max of 650,000. So just keep that in mind. When you hear the term young DP and U22, they're essentially the same thing, except we have a salary, the actual salary hit cannot go above the quote budget max of 650, whereas a young DP, it can. Now, why is it significant? Well, Nashville has all 3 DP spots filled, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
They originally could only have 1, and please guys chime in, you know more than me on this, on Nashville's side, but now they can have up to 3 starting this summer, okay? Up to 3 U22 initiative players.
Yes.
So that'll give Nashville a little bit of wiggle room, okay? That's the first big rule change. It really helps Nashville because they fill those spots, and this is the question where I'd love to hear your guys' input is, how are we going to fill them? Are we going to take advantage of that? Or you guys know the spending prowess of this team. What are you guys thinking? Maybe it doesn't have to be spending, but how? Or are we going to take advantage of these rules?
I'd love to say, I mean, I think the biggest thing with the DP U22 slots, you could look at, Nashville using their 3 DP slots, but it could also lead to us, either getting rid of one or what I think is more likely is to try and use those U22 initiative slots to really bring more youth in and to really build up for that next season for Nashville. I think that's the biggest thing that they could do with this, considering the fact that they're probably not going to get rid of Hani Mukhtar or Walker Zimmerman anytime soon, even though Walker is a little up there as far as age and has had some injury trouble the last 2 seasons. I don't see him going anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, Nashville's a team that historically hasn't really done much with their U22 slots.
Yeah,
just like their international slots. I think was it Rodrigo Pinheiro was like literally one of the from Uruguay is one of the only U22 people that we've or players designations that we've actually utilized in MLS. And there might be some other ones, but that's the one that comes to mind for me. So to me, it's making it more flexible for us to spend money, which is what I'm what you just said, Shay. Essentially, these rules make it easy for you to still spend a good amount of money on your designated players, and also still reserve some money on the side for your potential U22s, these potential young kids who are going to come in and maybe change the game. So
what's happening and what I'm seeing right now is this is going to be good for the MLS. What we all know as Nashville fans is Nashville is going to double down on the GAM, And that's what Nashville does. They're not going after the big signings.
Blame them?
They're double down on this
Can
GAM.
you blame them for doubling down on the GAM when you have teams like we just played, right? We just played Philly. And we all know that Philly has the older brother Sullivan, but they have Kevin Sullivan in their MLS Next Pro squad right now, I believe, right? Is he in there?
Well, he's going to Man City when he turns 18.
Oh, absolutely, he will.
They're still producing talent like that on that level, and they've been doing it for a long time. And that's not to say Nashville can't do it. They're just not. We're not that old of a team. Like, we're still trying to build out our senior roster, let alone trying to build out, like.
But this gives us an opportunity to, and I'm just worried that Nashville's not going to take advantage of it. Well, they're going to double down on the GAM and try to.
Advantage? Would you start now with everything going on? I think right. Okay, we have to, but like, here's the thing: the season's not even close to over yet. We're like 6 games in, right? Like, yes, I want to develop that younger, but like, with this opportunity right now, Logan, would you like say, hey, let me balance it all, let me balance it out, let me balance out my roster, or would you go all in on that expanded opportunity for DPs? Because there is a buyout they now made it so you can buy out 2 players as opposed to 1, so you can buy out Randall Leal, who I think you want to buy out,
and open up an international spot.
Else. Who are our 3 DPs right now?
It's Walker Zim, Big Walker Zim, Hani, and Randall.
Yeah, Sam.
So here's what you can do.
Wait,
Serge is the other DP.
Serge.
He's the international spot.
He's an international spot.
I think he was making big money like that.
So here's the thing. So you have the 3 DPs already on the pitch right now. So you do need to build into that youth. When it comes to contract buyouts, that's going to be important on the next stage of things. And we do need to buy out Randall Leal.
Yeah.
Since it has opened up from 1 to 2, we have a couple options there. Had this been 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, I would have said buy out both Alex Wheel and Randall Leal. But man has done the work to change my mind on that. So I'm saying we got to buy out Randall Leal. We're wasting money with him being off the pitch. He's been off the pitch for 7 weeks. He got injured prior to our preseason because of a game that he was trying to play in Costa Rica for Costa Rica. Why are we wasting our money on him? 1.2 million that we're wasting on him just sitting on the sideline. Like, not even sitting on the sideline. He's barely there.
Jeez Louise. This guy's just going on a hate fest right now. You're just going on a Randall Leal hate fest right now.
It's being objective. Like, look at what we're doing. We are wasting money with him sitting on the side. It's the same thing as what we were doing with Akiloba, but Akiloba could at least play. He just couldn't play with the people around him.
Sounds like the same to me.
This is why, Logan, that these rules are coming into play. Injury rules have favored avoiding buyouts in the past. So there are ways to navigate that and get a bit of salary cap relief from injuries. Maybe I don't know how long to stay out. I have no idea. But yeah, wipe the 1.2 off the books. You still got to pay the guy unless he signs elsewhere and you have a agreed upon buyout. Now, I love this topic because I just negotiated a buyout last fall. So the club isn't always that quick to buy out a player. And let me tell you why. If they buy out the player now, who's going to pick him up in April? Not many people. But if you buy out a player in the summer, okay, you can make a deal. Let's say he goes to Mexico, right? You can make a deal that, hey, he's getting a salary from Mexico. Therefore, there has to be an agreement. And, you'll have the MLSPA fighting on his side. You'll have the MLS fighting against him. Hey, that perhaps they come to an agreement with the club where the MLS covers, Liga MX covers some of that salary. So there's going to be some hesitancy to sell a player when there's not any other option out there on the table, because you do have to swallow all that 1.2 million when in a genuine buyout is an agreement that takes place between the player and the club. Okay. So it's maybe a little messier than it looks. Now, that when you're a bad team, it favors Nashville. So let's transition this topic into number 3. is the third change is the additional GAM that clubs can use from player sales or loans transfers. There used to be a max of, I believe, 1.2 million per transfer that you could sell a player for 20 million, but you could still only allocate that 1.2 of that to GAM, which produces some flexible spending for the club. Hey, more spending means better time for the fans and a better team. And overall, a more competitive market for the MLS versus other global markets. What we had seen in the past, though, is that this was on a per transfer level and not on a comprehensive level. So if you only transferred one big player, you only got that 1.2 million. But if you transferred 4 or 5, you could nickel and dime that 1.2 million into 6. Okay, so now you can do a comprehensive, or whatever it was before. I don't know if there was a cap, but now you can comprehensively put together, regardless of transfers, 3 million in GAM. When you're a bad team, you want to sell your players. So if they can sell Leal, they're going to sell the guy. They're going to sell him and be able to convert some of that to GAM before they drop the guy and have to eat the rest of that salary.
Yeah.
So that's what I said is, we say, is he a good buyout option right now? No, he's not, because there might be a chance you could still sell him or even trade him if someone wants to pick him up in the MLS now. So it's a timing thing.
There's also
that's real. You're right.
Yeah, there's also the expectation that he returns to the team for the match on the 20th of April against Miami. That's his expectation, is to return after the bye week here. But who knows, man? I mean, that's news from a month ago. Well, we don't have anything.
Look,
really
I hope he comes out and he turns it around and we start playing amazing, and I will be the biggest Randall Leal supporter ever. But until he proves that and until he can stay healthy, I think there's a point where we need to look to sell him or trade him.
Yo, Austin, let me tell you something. If Randall Leal comes out of injury and saves Nashville SC season,
I will get his haircut.
I will name my firstborn child after this man. Randall Leal Steam Papi Junior.
Steam Papi.
That'll be my firstborn child's name. But look, there's a lot going on with like the money being tossed around, and I'm gonna say what it is. MLS is Don Garber is making this change because Miami has Lionel Messi. He's now in the States. We have the Club World Cup coming up. We have the World Cup coming up in 2 years. The Club World Cup being next year. There is so much attention on soccer
and Copa America here.
Copa, Dylan, let's not even forget about that. There's so much attention on soccer in this country right now. It's a smart business move, which is what the MLS is money league soccer, as I like to call it, soccer with a capital S, or sorry, not capital S, a $sign S.
There you go.
That is like, this is why we're seeing these changes. These changes they weren't being made before Inter Miami got bounced out of the CONCACAF by Monterrey, who Nashville SC beat last year handily in the Leagues Cup, might I add. Anyways, that's what we're seeing. We're going to we're hoping that Nashville takes full advantage of this. Knowing them, they'll probably fumble the bag, but it is what it is. Next up, in response to the massive L that we took at Geodis against Philly, Gary said some interesting things about bringing in some new talent. So we're going to talk about that next. Will it be in the summer? Will it be in the winter? We'll see. You guys know I'll be too lit on Wednesdays at Southside Kitchen Pub, but it does not have to be a Wednesday for you to get too lit with me at any of our away watch parties. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Mixtape615 for all watch party information so you can get in the mix with us, me, Logan, and Ginger Snap. Let's go.
Back, everybody, to the Mixtape 615 pod. we are here to talk a little bit more about what could be coming for Nashville when it comes to our roster. There's a lot of talk from Gary, at least a little bit of a teaser of what could come, and of course, with these new league rule changes that are very likely going to be put into effect, as long as it gets past the MLS PU. I think I think that Gary was probably alluding to that a little bit. Um, we got to talk of like, who's your wish list? What's coming up? What are you looking for as far as positions? So Austin, let's start it off with you, man. Like what's the position that you really feel like we need now that we're 7 games into the season?
We need goal scoring. Short? I don't know we need goal scoring. We need defense. We need midfield. We need everything right now. Like none of our team is moving like they should. Like we're not putting balls into the net, which was our issue last year, but we had the fewest goals against. Now we're sitting here possibly on track to allow 62 goals this season. So yeah, I mean, we need a sign wherever we can. But what's more frustrating than that is that Nashville is handcuffed ourselves. We talked about it a few episodes back about the international spots that we traded away in the offseason. Now here we are where it's incentivizing basically us to sign international players, but we don't have the international spots to sign them. We've got Lorenzo Leal sitting out on injury. We've got Sam Surge taking up an international spot and a DP spot, and here we are handcuffed by our management, not being able to actually look to the future to make anything happen.
Well, that was a lot.
Yeah, that was pretty intense. Dang, awesome. Ginger Snap.
Are you okay?
Yeah, yo, Ginger Snaps.
My drink is out, man. My drink is out. I need another.
His nickname is Krakatoa.
I don't like.
No, I'm a mountain fountain, man. That's a volcano. That's a mountain fountain.
Well, Tunji, Austin said a lot there, but like, where do you feel like we need it the most? I know, obviously, we are hurting. All of us are hurting internally as well as on the pitch. It feels like we're really hurting for some spots. But where do you feel like we need it the most?
I think Austin, I think that your feelings are completely validated. I just want you to know that I heard you.
Thank you. Hey, thank you. Hey, that's all I ever wanted.
Space, this is a safe space. Yeah, I feel. Yeah, we could probably see like a surefire goal scorer, but I would prefer to spend that money or to make that decision go towards our back line right now. I think that Nashville is always going to be a team that prides itself in its defense. Nashville is always going to be or should always be a team that prioritizes its defense. Depth at right back is, that's huge for us right now. It's something that we haven't had in a long, I don't think ever. Actually, now I think about it.
Shaq Moore, and that's it.
Shaq Moore, and that's it, baby. Riding the Shaq train to Shaq Town, right backsville.
Shaq's been out the last couple of games too, and so it's kind of
and you see how shaky we look, you know. So it's like, to me, I'm like, I would love to see another DP on the back line, really, because there's multiple reasons, but really, I said it last pod, and I'm gonna keep saying it until we have to start preparing for a life beyond Walker Zimmerman.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know when he's done. I only want to think about it. I definitely don't want to think about when he's done as a boy in gold. I would love for him to retire as a boy in gold. But I have to. It's kind of like when you look at Man U right now and you see Casemiro, and it's just like he can't keep. Like, it's not that he can't keep up. He just gets hurt every time he touches the pitch. So you kind of have to have quality backups so that when he is in, it's like you don't miss him so much when he's out. My thing is, I don't know who it would be, but just figure out another huge piece, like guaranteed surefire, like center back, right back, whatever it is. Find that guy, spend that money, put it on the back line.
Well, I mean, Shay, like if you're looking towards the back line, and obviously you understand a lot of how that looks and works. If we're trying to go after somebody now, if we're trying to go after somebody in the middle, if we're looking at the right back, if we're looking at the back line in general, or if we need somebody to move us through the middle, where do you feel are going to be our best options?
So you don't spend big on outside backs. You don't do that. Now, Tunji's right that with the money we have, and Austin's right, we are very strapped in what we can do. You go to the back line. That's what you do. That you can get good players for a significant discount versus what you can get for attacking players. And the second thing is we don't have the leverage to sign a big DP player. So you really do have to look at the back line if you want to make a difference now, right? But I think you need to look at the guy in front of the defense, the defensive mid, the guy that's supposed to be there to cover for your center back as well.
Yes.
And it's scary to think, and I wanted to talk about Walker Zimmerman, is Walker shouldn't be that much of your offense when he's out, and he shouldn't be that important to your defense. Usually Americans that are that significant to a team play in Europe. So it's a little scary to think that Nashville wasn't prepared for life without Walker this early, and it has exposed a lot of problems. So as much as scoring sounds like a fun idea, like any team, you got to start at the back and take advantage of what you can do right now. Who's it going to be? I have no idea.
I mean, you've got Sean Davis, who was, from Red Bulls, came in. He was supposed to be our defensive mid. And he's really not looked good this year. Godoy is getting older. We all know that. Anibal Godoy is, in his mid 30s. I think he's 34, 35 this year. He's up there. He's ready to move on as well. Drew Yearwood played really well this last game, but he's not a defensive mid. He's kind of in that center, attacking mid. It's very different style of play than what we thought. And so with that being the case, we've got to look at, at that back line where it's at. I don't feel like we're really hurting too much when it comes to our center backs. I think a lot of our issue is kind of where they're coming in together and communication, because we do have Brent Coleman back there who's kind of new. We've got Lucas McNaughton back there who's kind of new. Shaq Moore is kind of new from last year. So really, I think it's a lot of that is communication between them all. And with no depth in the right back, I do feel like that is a solid option for us.
If we don't have right back, basically what we've been doing is we've gone 3 in the back, but we're not running running 2 center backs, but one's playing a little bit more right back. And then we're playing with either Taylor Washington or Dan Lovitz as our left back. And they're not able to play their game because both of them play more of that, wing back where they like running up. Correct. Same thing that Shaq Moore does. And the way that we're having to play right now with our right back being out and not bringing, last year, whenever he was out, we would bring back Alex Moyle as our right back. Essentially, we're not doing that right now because we're trying to get offense, but we're not putting the ball in the net, and we're sacrificing our defense right now because of it.
Well, Alex Moyle did play a little bit of right back in this last game as well as the game before. Against if
you want to consider it that we were going a 3-5-2 or whatever it was,
to begin the game. I think we moved into a 4-4-2 again, and it does hurt. It really doesn't play well into that to our style with the players that we have currently.
Well, 3 center backs
gotta go somewhere.
3 center backs, and then your 2 wing backs will expose your defense on counterattacks. And for a team that already struggles marking, I don't know if that's the way to go if you can't score goals. So I agree. With the money we have, focus on that and see what you can get and shore up the defense. It would be fun to have.
Do you think it's focusing right now on what we can get, or focusing right now on what we need to get rid of?
So we've talked about that off air. Now's a good time to, I think, the best way to open up spending is to sell first. And now, you're not a good team. So you definitely want to look at offloading as soon as possible. before the winter deadline. In this case, for us, we're the only one open, more or less. You can only bring players. You're only going to be bringing players, and you can't send them out anywhere really right now until the winter.
Yeah.
So you can only trade. You might look at trying to offload with some trades, but otherwise you'll have to wait till July. And maybe they have something up their sleeve. But look, they've made some changes in their front office. There's been a little bit of change, but at the end of the day, it's still Gary, and they still have
the issue.
Yeah, and they still have some of the familiar faces in the front office. Is it time for a shakeup? Maybe it's time for something new.
Well, speaking about something new, I think a lot of NSC fans, we got some news early this week about a coach affiliated with Nashville SC that got let go. But it wasn't the one that I think some of us were cheering for and some of us were wondering about. Huntsville just abruptly let go of their head coach. Huntsville City, which is Nashville's MLS Next Pro affiliate team, just let go of their head coach. So it's some interesting times in Nashville SC and Huntsville world right now. I don't know.
Shake it all up.
I don't even know if the news is out yet on why that happened, but I don't know. Jack Collison stepping down. Apparently, they're saying stepping down, but I know what that means.
It's an encouraged leave, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's like,
we're giving you the opportunity to save face.
You can step down, or we'll put you down. Either way, you got to lay down.
So I will say, I think with the slots opening up, or at least hopefully opening up for us, with the expansion of things going, with Nashville doing what we've been doing this year, as opposed to how we've been viewed the last several years, I think that a shakeup is definitely going to be worth it. Maybe not necessarily right before we play Miami. And let's be real, having the Miami game right before the deadline is going to help give us some of that final, those final, thoughts on it. So
there's no final thoughts, bro. We're not as good as Miami. Personally, I'm just like, dude.
No, I'm just saying,
with the talent they have, obviously we know who's on that team. Like it's like we don't have the right to even talk about are we a rival for Miami anymore, like we were doing before the Champions Cup match. Like it's done. Like we're not able to join that conversation anymore because we have so many internal problems as a team. And when I say internal, I just mean from play style and results. Yeah, man. It's just like in my mind, where I'm at right now, you need to make a huge summer signing right now. Gary, and he was talking about the winter window, but like Shay said, we can probably only look within MLS, within the American market. If we're talking about looking towards the summer market, like there needs to be some sort of huge move, wherever it's from. I don't think it definitely won't be from a coaching standpoint. It definitely will not be from a coaching standpoint. I wouldn't expect them to. I don't want them to. But play personnel wise, and when it comes to the players, your senior roster, you need to do something.
There's, from my experience, there'll be a shakeup. Let me rephrase that. They will make a big move on the field for sure. I mean, anytime I have a conversation with a team like this from an agent perspective, and with respect, I haven't spoken with Nashville yet what they need for the summer, and I would allude to what they need without sharing details, but I'll say this. I'll leave it on this. Is Nashville's been able to carry a really strong fan base who's been spoiled with some pretty decent play, but let's see what happens. Let's see what happens over the next 2 to 3 months when the fans start to sour a little bit, and all of a sudden those tickets don't sell like they've been selling. So that'll
24,000 season tickets are no longer going to be 24,000 season tickons next year.
No, they're gonna be a lot of tickets on resold tickets, but it's fine. I'm gonna always try to make the game if I can. But it's just one of these things where I'm like, I can see like with the product that's been on the field lately, if we don't start taking advantage of the mechanism, the tools in front of us with the new MLS roster changes, with the people who may be available in this upcoming summer window, It's man, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be able, as a team, Nashville SC is going to be able to recapture some of the fervor that the fans had.
Yeah. All right. Well, lots of good information. Maybe mark in the comments if you have any thoughts on what you want to see. And then Shay, thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely.
Thank him. Anything you want to plug before we close?
In July, I'd say June, MLS Next playoffs are in Nashville. That means the youth, the future of this country in soccer. MLS Next, the kids. So U19 and down, U7. So you guys go out and support those. You want to see the Caden Sullivans, these crazy talents. You want to see what Nashville has in their system.
Okay.
These are the playoffs. This will be happening for the first time in Nashville, moving over from Dallas. Check it out. Go support your local kids. Go support your team. See what the future is. And then 5 years from now, you can say, hey, I supported that kid. I was there. I remember him. And I said on that podcast.
Now he plays in Europe.
I said on that podcast that he was going to be a star. Go be there. Go support, the boys down there and all the MLS academies of all ages coming together in Nashville in June. MLS Next playoff.
Awesome. Shay, we love having you on. You are always a huge supporter of youth soccer in this country and beyond, because you've got players from all over. So thank you again for all of your input. It was a huge episode to have you on, but we're going to wrap another episode of Mixtape 615. So big love to all of our supporters, our listeners, guys. We are, a quarter of a century old now. We are at episode 25. So
hey, Shay, what's the only episode that's better than 24? 25.
Okay. All right. Well, shout out because he makes this happen for us up at mixtape615.com. If you want to join in for this 2020, hopefully we've got more to look forward to. Hit us up on our socials, Instagram, Facebook, X at mixtape615. And for all our video content, you can find us on YouTube at mixtape615pod. So keep it real, keep it vibing. Until next episode, guys, Mixtape 615 is signing off.